Hello or welcome to Where Events by Isolighting. In this video I'm going to tell you all about the world event Call of the Scarab. So this is an event that happens every January. It's usually towards the end of January if you check your calendar, and it usually covers a weekend, so it can move this one. But it's all to do with celebrating the original opening of the gates and hitting that gong in Classic. So if you make your way to Scythalus, that is where you're going to find all the quests and everything relating to it. As soon as you enter, you are going to get a world quest that asks you to go and speak to your marshal. Now, your marshals will be outside the main dungeon area. Now, doesn't matter whether you've turned back time or not, because they have added a timekeeper up by the gong. So you can see I'm in future where there is no gong, but there is a timekeeper that will allow me to change the time back. So basically, what's going to happen is you are going to complete world quests in order to get points for your faction. The faction that wins after the weekend is over gets to keep their flags and masts up. So you can see Alliance stuff is everywhere because we won last year, or Alliance won last year. So on either sides at the bottom, you're going to have your marshals, so you will have your quest to hand in to speak to your marshal for the first time. So you can just hand that in. It does tell you a little bit about what we're doing and why we're doing it. If you don't care, you don't care. So the marshal himself sells only 3 items. So the 3 items you have are a ring, a medal, and a mount. Now the mount can only be used in the raid instance, and it drops in the raid instance anyway, so really it's not worth buying. The other ones cost a ridiculous amount of items, and I will tell you where to get those items as we go through. But apart from that, there's no extra stuff from this NPC. Now next to it there is a blue mark, and basically you can go and hand in all these extra things for extra rep. And on the opposite side is the Horde version. Okay, so at the top of your screen, you can see currently who is winning. This is the winning scoreboard, if you like. You can see Alliance is currently winning. So, looking at your map, you've got new world quests. There's 3 general world quests and 2 instant world quests. So I'll take you over to one of the ones that's marked as an elite, and really, 73 million hit points. Yeah, you're gonna need help with that one. So there is an option to start a group. When I made this, there was like nobody around. So next up, we're going to look at the quest in the middle. So basically, the reason I'm showing you where I am on the map now is for Alliance, this is where you're going to have to go and hand in. And for Horde, this is where you're going to have to hand in, not where the question mark is. But you are going to have to go to the question mark to pick up the sand. So what am I talking about? As you enter the area where the question mark is, there are these lumps on the floor. Now, once you click on it, you have a buff. You cannot mount while having the buff. You have to run back to your faction's hand-in area, which is where I just showed you those 2, and stand on the weird-looking teleport things. You have to do this 5 times. But here's the kicker. While doing it, you're PvP. So, if you don't like PvP, don't do this quest, because you can be ganked by Horde or Alliance, depending on which one you are. So, you don't get the extra points for your team until you have finished the quest. So you do, however, get honor every time you do it, but until you finish, you don't get the extra points for making the Alliance win the weekend. So next up, we're heading to the last general world quest, which is all about summoning. And in order to summon, you have to get some things. So run around the area that is marked on the map, killing all the Twilight people. They're not been leveled, so they're all level 30s, so you can just kill them. Eventually, you will have these 3 items. You will have the robe, the cowl, and the mantle. And you probably will have picked up some text that you can go and hand in as well if you want to. Anyway, put the 3 items on, and you are now able to talk to stones. So there's 3 different types of stones. There's a greater wind stone, there is a wind stone, which is in the background there, and then there's the lesser wind stone, which is over here. Now at this level, just with those 3 items, you can only speak to the lesser wind stone. And when you do so, it will summon the thing that you need to kill for the quests. Now, you can solo these because although they are up to 70, as a mage, it's the same amount as a rare. So I wouldn't, worry about it. You can finish this quest no problem. But the reason I'm telling you this is because once you have killed it, you are given that crest item that you can use to buy that medallion and the ring from the NPC. Now, as I said, if you go over to these stones now, it will tell you you don't have the medallion or the ring, so they don't want to talk to you. Now, the important thing to note here is every time you speak to that lesser stone, one of your clothing items disappears. So you need to make sure you don't sell them all until you've done all 4, or if you're going to carry on and take out the larger groups of these guys, you are going to need a group. Some people have said they've been able to solo the next one up, but I think the third one up is possibly really difficult. But it's going to take you a hell of a long time to get all those items anyway. And I'm not sure there's even anything decent to drop. Anyway, moving on then. The last 2 things that I'm going to talk about are the instances. One is a dungeon and one is a raid. The raid you can only do once. The dungeon you can do daily while this event is happening. Obviously it counts. Once the event is done, you can still do it, but it's not going to count. So it's up to you. So this is the dungeon one, and I just wanted to show you basically when you enter, it is also not leveled up. It is still level 30. I actually ran through the entire instance without aggroing anybody just to make it to the boss, just to double check that he hadn't been buffed up. And although he was question mark, you can just kill him in seconds. It's all good. So the very, very last things I'm going to cover are achievements. There are 3 achievements that you could get, but you can get them at any point, not necessarily in this event. Completing the dungeon, completing the raid, and obtaining the rare red mount. So the mounts here are only usable within the raid instance. You can have them in your collection, but you can never use them anywhere but in the instance. And the red one is really, really rare, and it will drop as you're running through the instance if you're lucky. So next up, there are 3 pets that you can get as you wander through. You have the mini mind slayer, and this one drops from the prophet. You have the idol, and that one drops from the emperor. And then you have the globule, and that one drops from the big slime dude. So those are your 3 pets. Now I will show you the 4 mounts that you can get, but as I said, they can only be used in the raid, which I always thought was really pointless. And these drop so much, and you can only ever use the stone that drops once, so they clog up your bags, something chronic. But those are the 4 different colours that you are looking for inside that raid. So as always, I hope you found this video useful. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to see what else I'm up to.